But what is your current focus for your business?
Right now, the focus for the business is to reach the communities, especially in the community of Temecula, because I'm here. So, they always say start at home. So that's what I'm doing as we speak. I have been reaching out nationwide, but it's easier to go local first, get familiar with the people, see what their concerns are, and then work outward from that way. So I've been reaching into Temecula, Marietta. I've also been going a little bit outward towards like the San Bernardino area and things like that. But my focus is to reach people who are in pain, people who are tired of dealing with medications and stuff like that. So that's, oh, there you are. Okay, I'm sorry. There you are.
I was like, okay, I'll show my face.
Thank you.
It's awkward, like you're not talking to air.
Yeah, so that's my focus right now, and to let people know that there's someone holistic in the area that can help you get along the way, versus going to the doctors, because a lot of people, they feel like the doctor is not really getting them to the next level. And they know it. They really want to take their bodies to another level. So at this point, they're reaching out and they don't know if there's people out here in the community that can actually help them. So that's my focus.
So I know there's two different parts of your business. You have the My Detoxer, and then you also have your holistic medicine portion of your business, right?
The services. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So will you start from the top and sort of tell me the ins and outs of each of those? Like, my business, My Detoxer, and this is what this is, but these are also, my services that I offer as a holistic healer. So I can get a clear understanding on that, because that's what I'm going to put at the beginning of your article. It's just like a breakdown of who you are and what you've been doing and how it led to doing the detox products.
Okay, so I'll take it from the services first, because that's where I started. 13 years ago, probably like 14 years ago, I got engulfed with understanding that there was a difference between organic and commercially grown food. I didn't know that, and I was like, what's that all about? Why is there a difference in food? What are they doing here? So I started studying it and understanding why they're doing this, and found out that one is medicinal, one is not. And my whole question was, well, why do they have a medicinal food and not, and non-medicinal food? Like, what's the separation all about? So I was fascinated between commercial and organic. And then I started realizing that the organic foods, or all foods, really have medicinal properties. So over a course of years, I was doing a lot of studying, still is. I've been studying ever since. And once I start realizing that this stuff has a lot of tricks and trades in it, I began to utilize it as medicine, and start realizing that it works, and I was helping people with all kind of health issues. One of my first encounters was the liver. I helped someone fix their liver back up, or get them to the finish line with actual westernized medicine. And I used a lot of medicinal changes. I changed their eating habits, and their eating habits. Along with that, I've helped them with adding medicinal herbs and supplements to help repair that, and explain to them why their body was doing the things that it was doing. And at the end of the day, they had like a viral load of they had hepatitis C. And there was like one step away from cirrhosis of the liver, which was category 6. And I helped get their category down to a level 1 over, I think, a year and a half or so. And after that, I was realizing like, oh, okay, I'm on to something. So I've been helping other people along the way, giving them education. And my education had, went a little further as well. So
Yeah.
years later down the line, I was fighting my own issues. And I had so many issues, like an old woman, like 80 years
Do
old.
you think, let me ask you this. Do you think as a healer, because part of healing is taking things that are holding you, right? And we are supposed to be so aligned that we can take yours and push it back out, like almost like a regurgitation thing, right? We could take
Mhm.
your funk and we're supposed to be able to fix it and push it back out into the universe and make it useful again, right? That's
Yeah.
our job.
Yeah.
But when we are so giving that we sort of take too much from ourselves, do you think that we store that? It makes us sick if we don't get it back out? Like, you know what I mean? Because how did you get sick? You have such a
It
healthy
was
lifestyle. It was like, I always think that maybe part of us, I have a lot of health issues too. And they didn't happen until after I'd been through this real big phase of helping the most key people in my life
mm,
get through their things. And then all of a sudden my stuff imploded. And it was like,
mm,
you know what I mean? I wonder just energetically if you can make yourself sick by trying to take away other people's pain and not necessarily remembering to do
take
self-care
care of
too.
yourself.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that's something that I question all the time, and I just questioned myself about that yesterday, day before yesterday, a couple of days. They call those kind of people empaths.
Mm-hmm.
And we take on stuff with me. I think I did a lot of, because of lack of education in my family.
Gotcha.
Nobody was teaching me the dangers of the things that I was doing when I was
Okay.
younger, and it all started off with sugar, and I
Uh,
didn't know that sugar was going to catch up with me. When they say, "Oh, when you turn 25, you start going downhill." I mean, literally, when 25 hit, everything started changing. And I was like, eh.
what?
But I think I strongly feel that just with my logic, because a lot of people always try to throw a book at me, and I'm like, I am a book. I know this stuff.
You
And
got this life experience going on here. You can't
yeah, and they think it's propaganda that I'm following. I'm like, no, I don't follow propaganda. That's one thing I do not do. I study, I show thyself approve, and then I put logic to it, because that's what we have. We have discernment, we have intuition, and it has to resonate. So things had resonated with me, but with my own issues, at the end of the day, I realized sugar was my downfall. Even though I didn't have cavities, thank God.
Yeah,
It was
you
cavity.
straight teeth.
Yeah, it was bones, everything else. So as a young girl, I used to eat a bunch of sugar. Candy, bring a big, giant, bulky bag of Skittles to school and Starburst, and it's this big. It wasn't the regular size bag. It was like the Halloween bag, the one you put in Grandma's candy jar and fill it all the way up. And I would
You
come back
carry
home.
around a bucket year round. You're like,
Yeah,
no.
it was less than just a school day around, and I would, and as I grew older, I was like, dang, you did that, and I was doing it consistently. So it caught
Yes.
up with me. And this is the stuff that I be telling people. This is how we fall apart around age 30, 32, and it's too young, but the body is like, yeah, you damaged my premature organs when I was doing you was a baby. Our parents want to give us the craziest, sweets and stuff soon as when we turn 1 years old, because they think that's love. And in reality, it's not, and we think it is, but the body is like, that's not love. You're hurting me, and our body is not mature yet. So when I turned 25, and get into that older age where I start just deteriorating, doctors couldn't figure nothing out. I was like, why these people can't figure out what's wrong with me? I was losing my eyesight. I had a pain in my side that was just constant every day for 5 years straight. Every single day of my life, I was suffering with that pain for 5 years straight. It would not go away. It felt like I was ovulating every day. And I went to the doctor. They did all kind of scans on me, all kind of CAT scans, and ultrasounds, everything. They even cut on me to see what was going on, and still couldn't find anything. But around that same time, I was suffering with my eyes, simultaneously. My eyes were getting blurry. I was getting floaters. I was getting stuff, gunked up in my eyes. I wasn't seeing things well. I was always like, waking up with puffy eyes. It was bad. And the doctors kept giving me solutions. And I'm like, I'm holistic. I don't want nothing going in my eyes.
Yeah.
At this point, I felt, cornered. But after a while, I realized it wasn't helping. So I just gave up and I succumbed to the pains that I was dealing with. My back was blowing out. Like over a course of 5 years, my back blew out
You're
3 times.
Like you're a fit person. You're
Not at that time. I wasn't. I was prior to my kids, but at that time I was not fit because I was struck. I was fit, but I didn't realize the inflammation that my body was holding on to was the
That's what I
biggest
mean. You
reason
probably couldn't recognize it 'cause I call it skinny fat. People
Yeah.
always like,
Yes.
"Oh, you're
Yes.
skinny. Oh, you must be
Yes.
in great shape," and you're like, "Eh,
No,
no,
no, and you know
not
it.
at
When those knees hurt and those that foot hurt, and you can't stand for. I couldn't stand for no more than 3 minutes. After a while, I was
right?
suffering. My knees were
Skinny fat.
just blowing out
Same.
on me. Everything was bad. Everything was so bad. My skin wasn't as vibrant, as it is right now. But I was having too many issues, and the doctors couldn't help me at all. They couldn't help me. So spiritually, at the end of the day, I felt like God gave me all. And I know, people are not religious. I'm not religious either. I'm a spiritual person. I recognize, the powers that be. But I felt like all the pains that everybody can encounter, the most basic pains that everybody can encounter, was laid upon me so I can go ahead and fix my issues, so I can find a way to help other people fix their simple issues, because
Yeah.
they're simple, but in reality to them, they seem very detrimental because they can't get out of it. They got to take medication for it. And I'm
Yeah.
not a medication type of person, I medication don't work with me at all,
It doesn't
and
work.
it
Yeah, it
doesn't work,
doesn't
and it
work.
upsets, it causes all kind of side effects and all kind of stuff. So I suffered. I didn't want to take nothing because I didn't want to suffer somewhere else. So after a while, I cried out. At that point, I went in the kitchen. I had a very bad sugar issue, very, 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 very bad sugar. And of course, it started when I was young. So it was to the point where I was feeding everybody healthy, but I wasn't feeding myself right. And I was eating snacks when I'm fixing these beautiful course meals and stuff. And at the end of the day, I went to the kitchen one day and I said, I'm in trouble. I was like, I'm in trouble. I said, I need help. I cried out. I was like, God, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I need help. I don't know what to do, because I couldn't stop eating sugar and my stomach was hurting at the same time.
Mm.
So 2 days later, that pain that I was suffering with every day went up to like a level 3, a level 10. And it didn't come down for 2 days. And I had babies with no epidural. So I
No.
was
Yeah, you're
pain
like, I'm
tolerant.
built for this.
Yeah, I was tolerant, but that pain wasn't tolerable anymore because I'm like, nothing's coming out of me. And it felt like
Right,
something's
there's
about to
no
pop.
reward.
Yeah, so and it felt like my body was about to just explode, down in that area. So when I was with my kid's father, he was like, take a Motrin. And I was like, I'll do anything because I don't want to go to the emergency room, because all
Yeah.
they're gonna do is just send me back and say, go see your primary, and here we go again with the same old thing that I've been dealing with for 5 years. So that's when everything changed for me. I say, well, what I'll do is when I realized the Motrin had, oh, what a pretty little pussycat. Oh my
Right? She's
God.
like, what are you doing? She's jumping
Oh, I
around.
gotta put that thing when I said I do.
Yeah.
So
We call her the spawn of Satan. She's very beautiful,
she's
but
gorgeous.
she's very soft. But if you don't pet her just right, she will go from sweet to like eat your face off.
Oh,
Attitude,
sound like my
attitude.
son, my little baby.
Right. It's the most bizarre thing. So everyone's like, she's so beautiful. I want to touch her. And then she's like, yeah, go ahead. Nope, you're not right. And she just get mad. It's embarrassing. I'm like, every person who's ever tried to pet her, and
Oh
she
man.
just turns on them. She'll
Oh,
let them get real good and like thinking they're loving and they've won her over. And then
oh
she's like,
wow.
nope, F you. I
That's
don't
not
know
right.
what's wrong with her. I don't
That's not
know. To fix
right.
it. She needs some holistic love. She's got something caught up in there, blocking
That's
her chakras.
crazy.
All yeah.
Oh
Man,
no, I've been hit that before. I'm like my holistic don't help in those areas.
yeah.
It
I
helps with
think
humans, but animals, but that, animals are, I don't know. Animals
she's
do push-ups for me a
weird.
lot of times. So, I probably have some
Yeah.
kind of whispering. We'll see.
She's so funny. She once she finds your person, even with me, she'll lay on my chest. She'll start like doing the paw thing, like she's nurturing me. But the second I go to pet her back, she's like, "That's not how this works."
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow. Like,
just
I'm
lay
giving a
there like
massage
this,
right
like,
now.
oh, let me know when you're done. Like,
Right, right, right.
whatever you're doing, thank you. And don't
She's like,
don't
let me
bring
do
me
what I came here to do. Don't touch me. I'm working right now.
embarrassing. Okay,
I'm
so
working.
my first question is, when you started your holistic practice, what did you notice as a repeat pattern in all your patients that you're working with?
Well, the repeat is everybody's dealing with sugar. They're inflamed. They're
Mm,
inflamed either through the foods that they eat mainly, and it's either carbs or sugars. Some people, is a very small amount of people who are, complaining, saying they don't eat sugars and stuff like that, and they're dealing with some other kind of issues. But about 85-90% of the people are like inflamed, and
gotcha.
that's that whole sugar monster thing, where everything changed. That's where it changed for me, and I realized sugar is the problem.
And then just to put in perspective, is sugar in everything?
Sugar is Glucose is in pretty much everything. It pretty much, there's I would say, because our body needs energy. That's how we get
Mhm.
our energy. But the problem is how it's being given to the body.
Gotcha.
And we're receiving it from things that we're not really looking for sugar from. And that can be like breads, pastas, carbs. People are like, I don't eat sugar, so, but what else are you eating that breaks down to a sugar? And the
Yeah.
body is saying, I don't want that kind of sugar. That's not the kind of sugar I'm looking for. You're giving me a refined sugar. You're doing this, that, and the other. And this is where overconsumption of it is. And then people are finding out that, they're dealing with these side effects that sugar causes, which is inflammation.
Gotcha. So knowing that, once you sort of had a repeat offender in your wheelhouse of clients where you're just like, okay, this seems to, what do you do first when you start a plan with your clients? What is goal
Detox.
one?
Detox.
Detox. What's
Detox.
detox look like?
Um, that's a good question, because a lot of people misunderstand that one. They think, oh, I've detoxed for 3 days. I've detoxed for, I've did a flush out of my system, and that's that. A flush and a detox is not the same thing. And the question is, are you doing a real detox? A detox is supposed to go into the body and then pull all impurities out. And a lot of times it does not last for 7 days. It is like and it took you years and years to get to that point, and it's not going to take overnight for you to get. Now, in my situation, when my product did for me, it, even though it was working on detox, and the first cup that I've taken actually changed my whole life, but it didn't mean that I was detoxed. It just meant like I'm working on detoxing you, and it gave me a very quick response immediately to let me know I am working, and you're going to stick to it just because you see a difference. And a huge difference was that pain in my side went away. So after I did it for, so like, I think 2 months or so, my whole body was reset. And that's the epitome of a detox. Everything's supposed to be reversed, and you feel the reverse. So when people get detox and they get it from off these shelves, they think that a simple flush is a detox, and that's a flush. That's just moving stuff away. So what I would say to people is, think about like a toilet bowl. You have a dirty toilet bowl. It's very scummy, and you got water in the bowl. The water is clear, and you use the toilet. Let's just say you put tissue and some urine in there, or whatever the case is. And let's just say you put a little droppings in there too, or whatever. Now that it's all dirty, it's and when you flush it, it turns clear again. But at the end of the day, the scum is still on the bowl. So it's like, did you really, you flushed? You didn't detox. You didn't go in, put some gloves on, or put some Comet in that bowl and scrub those walls, clear those pores so the bowl can be porcelain and pretty again. And that's the difference between a detox and a flush. Because when you detox, you descum all of that stuff. And this is why when people do a flush, they still in pain. And then when they try to eat healthy, they're wondering why they're still in pain. You know, I do eat healthy. I do eat this. I do eat that. I don't eat this. I don't eat that. And the question is, when was the last time you did a detox? Because if you still have scum on you, your body is feeding off that scum.
And is candida, are you familiar with candida? And is that something that we, when you talk about detox?
Yeah, because what happens is candida is the bacteria, and I like to put it in a nice little picture. They are like party animals that know how to start parties and have fun. So when you eat just that one thing that has that sugar content in it, or those carbs or whatever, the things that make your brain say, give me more, or stop you from shutting down from eating it, it goes in, and if you become its host, because it has a brain of its own. It has its own mindset. So when you eat it, it goes into you and then start controlling you through the gut. It's like, and then what happens is it starts saying, hey, bring some other boys in. Let's bring the girls in. Let's have a party. We got a good one. You know, that's why they say it's best to not just eat sugar, but if you do, you got to have good control, and it's hard because you introduce something. Yeah, the cravings are not you. And this is why I try to explain to people, you know, when they have cravings or they have these sugar attacks and things like that, it's not them. When babies act out, that's not them. That's the cravings making them aggressive, saying, give me what I want. You know, and babies are the main, you know, they show the truth of how sugars really respond. This is why when people try to detox, they get aggressive if they don't know how to do it properly, and they get, you know, grumpy and stuff, you know, when they try to get off the sugars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because the body is saying, I know you're not trying to get rid of me. Not the body, but the bacteria is saying, I know you're not trying to get rid of me. So it has a brain of its own. It goes in your brain through your villi, through these straws inside of your intestines, and it begins to upload these messengers that say, bring more, bring more, bring more. That's why every time when you go into a store, you see something that you had and you want it again, because the brain had been in the candida inside of you had been in communication with what's on the outside of you, because it knows what it is, and it's drawing a connection to what's on the outside of you through your eyes. And your eyes see it because you're drawing a connection because you had it before, and that same thing is in you saying, bring more of us in. And now your body start to, you know, get your mouth get watery, you know, you have these undeniable feelings, and you grab it without even noticing and add it to your collection. And this is why we start having the same stuff in our pantry over and over and over, because we're in communication with what's in us, and these are the things that's causing us to have inflammation and scum and stuff. And
that's how candida works, right? It like attaches to the lining of your gut, and it creates these little houses. I did my research because I had an issue with it myself. And if I'm not mistaken, they basically stop your body from being able to absorb good nutrition.
Absolutely.
Blocking your pores.
Absolutely.
And then the only thing that it's feeding to your body is the
bacteria.
Sugar.
Yes, sugar. Gunk.
So it's like your body now thinks the only thing that is it can receive and do all the things is sugar, right? And that's how the candida operates.
And this is why detoxing is extremely imperative, because the detox goes in and pulls all that off. Yes. And this is how my cravings stop immediately. I didn't even have a fight about it. Yeah. I had no fight about it.
I started doing just like lemon juice and water. And first thing in the morning, but your mix that you made, this detoxer that we're talking about, it's like that with like 8 other things in it as well that are really going
7.
at it hardcore. Whereas my lemon water every morning before I have anything else, the acidity of it, I was told, will break down that house that the candida lives in. And then the second water is supposed to flush it out. But again, that's just a flush.
It's just a flush. It's not strong enough, and it's mainly, it's good for. See, lemon is good for what it is. It balances the pH levels and things like that, and it helps certain other things like the kidneys and things like that. But it's not pulling toxins out.
Okay.
It's not detoxifying all that impurities, those things that the messengers that's not supposed to be there. That detoxer that I have has purifiers, blood purifiers in it, things that is de-scumming, things that make those type of scum scream to come off you because it's so powerful, like the ginger. Ginger is very potent. It's good for, digestion. But the combination of everything else that's in it, it has so many powerful nutrients like jujubes and things like this that has super nutrients in it. The turmeric, all this stuff has super nutrients. So when one thing does, it's like a working operation. One thing does one thing, clears the way for all the other stuff, and then the other things, the other ingredients in it, uploaded, like the allium compounds. It uploads all these things into the system so it can go into the bloodstream. It can create oxygen on the blood cells, deliver the message, repair all the other areas, take all the circulation. That there's garlic in it that creates circulation so everything can get to where it gotta go. All these powerful nutrients are there. It's like a train that goes in and says, choo choo, we coming in, and we coming in with the boys, and all these boys have a purpose, and we're going to scrub first. And then the more you drink and drink and drink, the more we're going to upload all the nutrients and begin to repair your organs, repair your mind. I have people that took that stuff, just 2 shots, which adds up to like 4 ounces in the store. And they immediately come back to me and say, I had a clearing of my mental fog instantly. And that's basically sinuses, because the candida creates mucus, lots of mucus, so when you have all that mucus in your brain, mucus all over your body, you're going to have some clearing of the mental, because you can think better, know.
Yep. That's incredibly crucial, and one of the reasons my boyfriend is taking so tell me, as far as product is concerned, you have 2 different product packages. The one is, well, maybe there's more than that. So let me rephrase my question. What are the 2 different routes that you would suggest for your clients to go? Because like we bought the samples, the smaller packets, and that's 20-day.
That's a 7-day version.
7-day thing versus what you would say, like, I don't want to do a flush, right? I want to do a reset. I want to stick with it. So if I do my 7 days, where does that get me? And then where do I go next? You know what I mean? How do I make the 2 work so I can get all the way through the program?
The 7, I always recommend, when I have clients come to me, and they come in with real issues, I always recommend detox, a deep scrub first. And that way, whatever I recommend to them, they don't have an issue with carrying on, because they're always saying, I'm afraid to get off the detox. I don't, I want to make sure I don't mess it up. And my whole thing is that you're not, as long as you don't reintroduce the bad guys back in, because the bad guys had already came off. If you're eating healthy, feeling good about yourself, that means that you've been detoxed. So once they do their detox, they can just carry on and they stay on a straight and narrow path. For the most part, they do, or they get back on it. So the smaller packets are for people like mainly in store, or for people who don't mind spending that kind of money to have those packets made where they can just do the shots on their own every day without having to, because they work. A lot of people work. So they would take that one packet with them, freeze it, and then take it to work. And during their midday, they would drink that one packet. But for it's like in store, because it's 3 times a day. You drink it 3 times a day when you're detoxing. So you got my lazy people, and you got my people that's like, you know what? I want to do it on my own, get more out the pack, because if I make it, I'll get much more and spend less. But for those that's in the store, it's pretty expensive, but it's nothing is not more expensive than your health, but it's reasonable, very, very reasonable. So when you're in the store,
it's a good starting place. That for us, that was it. We were like, okay, let's try this. Let's see what it can do in the 7 days of just giving me a good restart, and then come back to you and get the. So just so everybody's aware, I'm going to make sure they know you have your 7-day pack of detox tonics that are just made up already for you, that you drink 3 a day for 7 days.
No, you drink one a day, one a day, one a day, because people have experiences a huge change in their blood pressure just after drinking one a day for 7 days. And what happens is with the one a day is a sample, so people get the opportunity to taste it, see what it can do for them. It's the one a days are mainly like immunity boosters for those who want to try it in the store, or those who have tried the huge pack, they go back and then do a one shot. But most people don't go back to the store; they just get the bigger pack and make it on their own and take 1 shot a day. So when they're
thing, it's a bag of herbs and
tea. And you make it
like a tea, right?
Yes, you make it like a tea.
That you drink 1 time a day, or do you do that 3 times a day if you can?
3 times a day for detoxing purposes, and for people who want to just after their detox they carry on and they do 1 a day, and their packet lasts much longer because they're only doing 1 shot a day. But the smaller packets are for immunity boost. It helps with COVID. It helps with strep throat. It helps with all kind of simple colds and flus. It helps with pain management. It's a pain manager. So like especially with women who have menstrual cycles, they tend to I run to it whenever. Oh my gosh, well, I'm telling you, my pains can go. It take me to the hospital ready to push something out of me and nothing's coming out, but I have had many encounters where I will pull that tonic out and it will settle all those differences for 8 hours. And mind you, the reason why I created this product is because what was on my mind was a natural Motrin. And I made it just that. It was just that that 1 cup had settled that pain in my side, and it was the Motrin that I was looking for, and I never had to go back to another Motrin ever again for 3 years. This is 3 years ago. So it acts like a natural Motrin. It helps, and it acts like a Midol, and it's immunity booster, and a gut support. So if you're feeling like you're stopped up, a lot of people call me up and say, hey, I'm ready for another detox. I've been partying, I've been vacationing. I need to go ahead and get another pack because I need to flush my system. So most of the time when people do that 7 version, they take 1 packet and they can start their detox or their flush, I would say, because it's not a detox at that point. It's just a flush, and it's a gentle flush. And a lot of people ask, is it going to have me running? Because they're always afraid of going to the bathroom. And I'm like, no, it is not invasive. But don't be afraid to flush your system. Get your system clean. Right. You're not supposed to be dealing with waste, Your body's supposed to get rid of it so you can upload the nutrients that you need, So that's how that works. Those are the differences.
So the holidays are coming up. If somebody were to really get a nice gift for people, and it's just someone who's like, look, I know you've been struggling. Let me start somewhere. I would recommend, just from knowing what I know now, that you would get them the 7-day pack, and then you would get them the bag of the tea, to go ahead and get them the whole bag of herbs and do it together, because they go hand in hand, right? It's like you got to do the detox, but then if you want it to keep going, you should switch over to the tea and start doing that once a day as well, or 3 times a day, right? Till your body's like, for how long would you suggest would be a good, if you wanted the full effect, if you did the 7 days and then you switch over to the tea, then they need to come in and work with you on services to make sure that what they're eating is going to sustain this new body they have, right? Is that how it goes full circle?
Um, People ask me, do I have to change anything when I eat? And I tell them, not really. Because I was just a little monster at hand and I didn't know it was going to stop me from having cravings. And typically, when we eat wrong, we eat the bad things because good things don't make you crave. It's always the bad stuff. So if you can stay consistent with drinking it, it's gonna take your appetite away for the bad stuff. So people don't really have to change their diet. It changes it for them
So they
automatically.
don't crave the unhealthy
It's
stuff
taking the
anymore.
scum. It's taking the scum off. It's taking the candida off the intestinals. So it's
Yeah.
causing everything to dissipate. And those are the things that's giving you the cravings. Those are the messengers that's saying bring on more. So far as like a gift, that's something that I talk about as well with other people because it is a gift. If you was to give that to somebody, but the only thing is that person have to want to do it themselves because a lot of people don't want to do things that they're not ready for. So it's always, are you ready to do it? Are you tired of feeling the way you're feeling? Are you serious about it? And it's crazy because you can make it, but people still probably are like, you know what? I'm just not feeling like pulling that cup out and opening up the lever and letting everything drop out. It's like we're so simple and spoiled, but that's why I say we have to want to do it. When you want to do it, then you do it effortlessly and people see a huge difference. I have men that's 80 years old that come off medication because they wanted to do it and they seen a difference and their kidney filters had improved, their A1C levels had decreased for sugar glucose levels, their blood pressure had improved. I have people that's 70 years old, they have spinal stenosis, felt like they could never ever come out of the stiffness in their neck, and being on the detox for 2 months, not even 2 months, 2 weeks, shall I say, their neck released. It's like throwing holy water on a demon. It just it lets
It's going to
everything
leave
go.
eventually. It's going to leave.
Yeah,
It really
and
is. And once
yeah,
it's gone, the whole idea is you now recognize when the cravings start coming back. Oh gosh, I got to go reset
that's what they
myself.
do. That's what they do. They normally say that. Like I went to Cancun, and one of my special people in my life was like, I've ate so much craziness. I ate the shit, and I was watching. I was like, you better stop that because you don't know what you're up for. It's about to be a problem. And it was like, no,
Yeah.
I got this. I'm gonna be fine. I'm like, I'm just saying. And as soon as when they get back home, they was like, I messed
I
up the
was
sugar
doing like
cravings.
that for a
The
week.
sugar
Yeah.
monster is here and I don't know what to do. I was like, you better get on your detox. And he pulled that detox out real quick. And he just sent me a message saying, I'm on my detox. I'm already at the bathroom. So that's just basically how it works. You don't reintroduce. If you do introduce it back, you should be mindful enough to know how much control, how much, be in control of the situation. Don't let the situation control you.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am going to ask one more question because I feel like I have like a really good take on this. Your holistic services, can you talk a little bit more about those? So let's say that we have our clients, they come to you for the reset. They've got their tea on hand for the bad days. Their cravings are gone. They're in a great place. You come into the home and actually cook, and you were telling me about how you cook and use food as medicine with your clients. Is that an educational thing, or like explain that part of your business? Because I think that's really like an added bonus. It's not just you selling a product that will reset their system and then giving them something on hand. You take it a step further with following through with this part of your business. So tell me about that.
Actually, what I do is when I have a customer that do a holistic assessment, I have different services. One where I can go into the house and do a nutritional planning and a nutritional assessment. The nutritional assessment is when I go into the home and I assess what's going on in the home. It depends on, what they tell me their issues, what their pains are, and I
Mhm.
begin to examine what's going on. And that can be outside of the refrigerator as well. It can be issues with the bed. It can be issues with the vents. It can be they can say, "Hey, I have like this cough. I have this. I have this pain on my side." I analyze everything because it's not just foods. And so I would also go into the pantry because before I do anything with them, I get a do a consultation to figure out what their concerns are. And then when they sign up for one of the services, mainly like the assessment, the nutritional assessment, that brings me into their home, the correctional nutritional assessment. It brings me into their home, and then I can understand what they're doing, and then I explain to them how these foods are triggering them. And they can say, I eat good. I eat this, I eat that. But I went into a few clients' home, and they have great foods and stuff like that. But then when I turn the label around to explain to them what's in that great food that they think they're eating, they see, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Somebody can have triglyceride issues or whatever. And they're like, I eat healthy. But then now they have this big, huge container of coconut oil that causes triglyceride issues, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Or they can be saying, you know what, I eat this, I eat that. And then they have soy in their house, and they're realizing that they're dealing with cancer cells that's eating at their uterine area, and the cancer is estrogen eating type of cancer, and they're eating a bunch of soy, or they're eating products that contain a lot of soy, or they're eating like whey proteins that have tons of soy in. And I explain soy is estrogen. I go into the house and I start being very, very, very detailed about everything and saying, this is what I feel like you should remove. And then, and whatever else they may have. So when it comes to like a full holistic assessment where I analyze the body, the eyes, the nails, the toes, the back, the tongue, the everything, I bring in a packet of my detoxer so I can get them started. So because that's a part of the assessment, and I make the product for them while I'm there.
Oh,
And then
good.
while I'm doing the assessment, it takes about 45 minutes. I think I do my assessments will last up to like 3 to 4 hours. So about that time, the product is done. So I'm giving them a cup at that point, and then they're all set up, and then they start their process, and then they start, and I explaining them how they should eat, what they should be mindful of, and all that extra stuff, because those services are included in their holistic assessment.
That is really cool. Okay. All right. I love this. I got good stuff to work with here. So I'm going to start writing up my article this week, and I'll send it to you. So you can
Okay.
just take a quick read and tell me, if you're happy with it or if you want it worded a different way. But I'm excited to tell your story. And I feel like everybody in town should, for example, my boyfriend included, he took 4 days worth of medicine and then he got distracted. So I'm like, he needs to restart. You know what I mean? He's got to now get a new pack from you, which we'll be doing this weekend. If you're over at, or we're going to go over to Organic Roots and get another one, and he can start over. But that is the kicker right there, is to stick with it until the cravings stop.
Stick.
And
I just say stick with it all the way through. Do the whole thing, and then let your body reset. Like one of my customers said, something's gotta happen, And
yeah,
she. You should see her. Oh my gosh, when I first met her, she was a beautiful woman, but she got on it, and I hear this with all, it helps with arthritis, it helps with all kind of stuff. Her She couldn't stop, and everybody else can't stop. They're like, I'm addicted to this stuff, because it's, you can warm it up, you can drink it, it's just tasty. And her skin is so lovely. She lost 30 pounds. She don't have the cravings anymore. She's just highly impressed, and this is a 62-year-old woman. So and I'm always dealing with the people that are older because they had enough. This is why I like to work with people who are serious, because they really want a big difference and they see the difference. So
And
you
they've
have
been
to
on the
learn.
medication for so long that's only sort of blanketed the issue, not
Yes,
solved it. And my
exactly.
mom is heavily, been on medications for things for as long as I can remember. And,
Mhm.
it just, hers is mental issues and things like that. But even that stuff, being a smoker, she smoked cigarettes and,
Cravings.
so she has craving issues as well. And even myself, it's like, I'm petite, but I have my own issues with inflammation. So it's like my body is not absorbing nutrition so I can gain weight, healthy weight.
Hmm.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So even
Hmm.
though people see you as small and they're like, oh, I don't need to lose weight, or,
We
that's
all
not,
have our life. Yeah.
yeah, that's for me. It's like I would like to gain 15 pounds of healthy weight, but for whatever reason, my brain is not absorbing nutrition properly. And
Hmm.
have gut issues and I have all these things. So I myself am excited, and I was going to tell you that I'm going to come to Organic Roots and get another pack and do a 7-day and do some testimony videos that I would
I
love to
think
post
that you
online for you.
I really think that you should try at least a 3-week version. That way you
Okay.
do it 3 times a day and you can really
Is that
see.
the bag?
Because the smaller packs are pain management, immunity boost, and gut support. The bag is okay. I'm trying to fix some issues.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it has, and even at the little small bags, even I would say the small bags, but I've had people that had COVID and they have lupus at the same time. They
That's
had
not.
the lupus, they had COVID, right? And the COVID flared up the lupus,
Yep.
and they got the tonic because they called me up crying, begging like, hey, I need some tonic. And I brought the tonic to them, and the tonic, I bought a big pre-made jar. It was already made for them, and
Yeah.
they start drinking the first cup. After the first cup, their lupus flare-ups had been under control after 20 minutes, and it subsided,
Crazy.
the whole version of it, because they said it normally lasts for 3 weeks. They say they were over their flare up after a week, and they say even the butterfly rash that they have in their face and
Yep.
on their arm, it lasted for like just a couple of days, and the COVID went away after 4 days. So,
Nice.
so it's very, very, it stops stuff. It's anti-inflammatory, it's antiviral, it's antifungal. It has FOXO3 genes in it that helps with the mental aspect of the body, the healthy longevity, anti-aging aspect of the body. It helps with also ulcers. It's anti-ulcers. It's
Mm.
anti everything, because all the stuff that's in it, it has all these huge properties. They're superfoods. It's
Yeah.
superfoods. All the ingredients are superfoods. And then the
I was going to
blend
say the
is like
blend of
a
them.
blessing. Yeah, it was a blessing of a blend. I hear people say, I take turmeric all the time. I take turmeric all the time. And then they tell me while I'm at my table, but I'm dealing with inflammation. And I'm like saying to myself, and I say to them, well, if you taking turmeric all the time and you still dealing with inflammation, well, something ain't right. Because
And that
I
means
drink,
the ingredients, right? And the mixtures of them together. Because I mean, if you go to Walmart and you get turmeric powder that's Walmart grade, do you know what I mean? Like, you could take
my
that.
it's not the same. And my turmeric is coming from Hawaii. So it has this, that is grown in volcano ash. It has all these minerals and things. It's made for medicinal reasons. It's not made for food. These turmerics are made for medicinal purposes only. They feed it a special way. I even noticed the huge difference between one turmeric and another. One is the one that I have is much creamier than the ones that I used to use. So it's very potent. Although turmeric is good no matter what, but it's how it's being made, how it's being nurtured, and how is the blend? What are the grams? Who's making it? Is it over dried? All this stuff, everything that I do is very tedious, because once again, I did it for myself. I wasn't doing it for nobody but myself. And I realized that I helped myself. And I'm like, I want to make sure this is not a fluke because I'm not in pain anymore. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight because of my inflammation had been decreased tremendously. My skin has improved. My knot on my knee has went down. You can touch my knee now. Nobody could touch my knee. Nobody could touch my knee. You couldn't even look at my knee without me being insulted. So, my back pains had went away. I never had a back blowout ever since. I was getting back blowouts constantly, and it was so scary. I wouldn't have a baby. So it's all about the nurture of everything. How is it being made? How is it being taken care of? How is it being treated? And that's how you get that. And there's love in it too. Is there love in it? Is it just a factory that's just producing stuff? That's why people don't get a lot of results from the stuff that they get from over the counter, because love is not really there. It's just a machine. Which the machine is good, but still.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go get kiddos ready for school. They're telling me they're sick. That's scary. So I'm gonna go figure that out.
Tonic. Get that tonic.
I can go over to Organic Roots and buy that powder or buy the herbs today, right? Like
yes, and you can give it to your family.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
get that
in a personal day and going to figure out how to detox us all. We have been fortunate, knock on wood, to have missed catching COVID.
Good for you.
Everyone around us has caught COVID, so I know it's just a matter of time. I have a fear.
It's okay. I fight it off all the time. It's just what I do is, real quick, I tell my kids to tell me when they feel the first itch. And if they feel something on that throat immediately, I'm like, let me know so we can start fighting it. And I give my kids raw garlic. They know to go straight to raw garlic. If they feel any kind of anything, I do apple cider vinegar. These are all my first go-tos. I begin to attack the throat. And if that doesn't work, I do lime juice. I do lime juice, garlic, apple cider vinegar, tons of water. If that doesn't stop the weirdness on the throat, at the end of the day, I don't go to sleep without administering tonic. And around that time, if they catch it, we wake up fine. It doesn't matter if you're having like an ache or achy back or whatever, the tonic will go ahead and neutralize all of it. If it does progress, then I continue to stay on the tonic and kind of keep doing what I'm doing. But typically it doesn't progress at all. Yeah. I have had COVID.
Yeah.
2 times. The first time I didn't know, what it was. It just came around. The second time it happened, and it happened through a weird way that was weird. And the third time I felt like I was coming on with something, and I kept neutralizing everything. My throat was getting crazy and nothing was working but the tonic stopped my strep. I don't know if it was strep or going into COVID, but immediately
as long as you can nip it in the bud right away, that's the goal.
Nip it in the bud. You got to listen and tell them, the babies, to listen to their body, and then start getting on top of it and drink that tonic if you ever have the tonic. If you don't have tonic, some of the stuff that I would do would be those are like mainly my main things.
Those are good ones. I have all those in, like, we're big apple cider vinegar fans here at the house. We have a lime tree in the back. We have a jujube tree. Would you juju berries? We didn't know what jujubes.
Really?
We have a tree of them in our backyard, and we did not know that when we moved in what they were. And our dogs were pulling them off the plant, off the tree, and eating them because it's a big tree.
Do what the dogs do. They know what to do. They know what to do. Those are superfoods.
Yeah, they're just chowing down. But luckily, we've got almost all the trees that you mentioned. A lot of that stuff in the backyard. And I always try to have like ginseng and turmeric powder. But again, it's about the source of where the products come from, and that's what I think is so special about what you created. Was I always tell people, shop local, help global, and there's a reason why. In order for something to truly have the nutrients it needs, it has to come from that region that was designed for it so it can flourish in its best properties and be useful. So whenever somebody tries to artificially recreate something in an area where it didn't naturally grow, there's some loss that comes with that, So I think it's really cool that you took the time to find the right areas for your ingredients, so that when you put them all together, they really are this cluster of worldly awesomeness in a bag.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I've cultivated it for you from all the best parts of the regions, so that
Yes.
you have this thing that's reachable, and I did the work for you. So
Yes, even my jujube come from another part of the world. I'm very anal about my stuff.
I know, but it makes a difference. It really does. I mean, you know, I was talking to another client about why culture is so important, and it's a totally different topic. I'm going off topic, but when people try to say let's all be one, I don't really appreciate that, because there's a love that comes with being able to recognize what happens in different parts of the world and the cultures that go into it, and the Western medicine versus Eastern medicine in this world, where they actually, you can learn so much from all the different regions and how people handle things and what they do to make their health better. And I just feel if we all were just this blanket of oneness
We
in the
wouldn't feed off
literal
each
sense,
other.
we wouldn't be able to help each other. We would all
Yeah.
be hurting. We would literally
Yes.
all be confused.
Especially
Because
if they practice the American way.
yeah, no, I don't want that to be the norm. I'm like, give me culture from anywhere else, because we're all fat and unhappy. Like, I'm honestly, we really
You're
have
true.
become,
I'm telling you.
is
Yeah.
not cool. So clearly, our all is one idea is not working as well, because we're
Right.
all miserable and
Right.
suffering. So it's like, we're
Right.
all in this together. No,
Yeah.
someone get
Yeah.
out of the box and help us all get out of the box. I gotta do it.
It's so true.
And
So
besides, if you travel to like Ohio, or I think we were talking about this, like, oh no, that was my other client. We're like, she was talking about hair. She does hair, and she does textured hair, and she makes all these products for textured hair. And she was saying, when I go to Africa to get inspired to make my products, and I see everyone there trying to be like us here in America, it makes me angry, because I paid money to go to Africa to see Africa. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to, you do you, and like me get to enjoy it. You know, and she's like, then I go there and they're all like covering their hair and trying to straighten it. And she's like, I don't
right.
understand. I
Right.
make products
Right.
trying to
Right.
encourage people to love this part, and
Right.
you don't
Right.
want to enjoy it. What?
You sound like That must be Brandy K. Core.
No, it is Brandy's new best friend that she's been introduced to. There's a woman
Oh.
named Lulu Hare.
Oh,
All right, my dear, I have a lot to work with. Thank you so much. I know
you're
it's
so
early. It was
You're
a good
welcome.
conversation, and thank you, love. It was good to see
Definitely.
you.
Good to see you too.
Close your eyes and give up for today, and we'll try again tomorrow. So to wake up and hear
Exactly.
they're not feeling well, I'm like, oh, go on. Now we got to go and figure out what you ate all weekend, and then, like you said,
Detox.
Who's going to Organic Roots after our meeting this morning? Me.
Hey, no worries. All right, take care. Bye. And there you have it, you guys. My holistic story told to you live with